Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday, and welcome to another Friday Morning Live. As usual, I'm running a little late, but just so happy to be here and so excited for our discussion today. Um, I have done a lot of thinking, as I'm sure a lot of you have as well. um, because we're hearing so much in the news, so many things are changing in the United States so quickly. It's like it's almost it makes your head spin. I know it makes mine spin just thinking, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's happened now? So I have, excuse me. So I decided that our discussion today would be more in consideration of our federal colleagues, who I'm sure that for those of us, if those of us who are not currently federal employees feel like our heads are spinning, I can only imagine what they are experiencing at this time. And so I wanted to focus on a very, very timely article from the Society for Human Resources Management's quarterly HR magazine that is titled Transforming Career Setbacks into Career Success. And it is just so timely with everything that's going on, because I'm sure that if you are a federal employee who has either already been let go from your position, or if you are one who feels like you might soon be let go from your position, or you're just not sure, or if you're not a federal employee, or but you've experienced your job loss already, you've lost your job already, then I'm sure it feels like a career setback. Thus, the title, set up set up set up to success. And I borrowed that phrase from Dr. Willie Jolly, who is a world renowned public speaker, motivational speaker, and entrepreneur, who is his one of his favorite phrases, and I think is one of his books is titled from a setup to I think it's from a setup setback to a comeback or something like that. But this article reminded me of just that type of situation that a lot of us have experienced before. I've lost a job before. I I know what you go through. It is actually a form of a grieving process that you have to go through, because so many of us, based on the way on what we're taught while we're growing up, where we've always been taught to put a lot of emphasis on what we do for a living, on our career, and because we spend so many hours focusing on and paying attention to and performing the responsibilities, fulfilling the responsibilities of our career, usually to the at the expense of our health, a lot of times our um, mental health, our physical health, our family time, our time with our significant others, our spouses, and our spouse and our children. I mean, jobs are very, 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 very demanding. And I was thinking on yesterday that with the way that the changes are being made in at the federal level, and seeing that some of the private companies are following suit, um, is, there's gonna be a lot of, um, I shouldn't say responsibility, but demand, and possibly unreasonable demand on on the workers who are remaining in their jobs. And so we have to be so careful to protect our mental health, our physical health, to try our best to build in time with our loved ones, and not let those relationships, even our friendships, not to let them suffer, and to protect other things other than the career. Still protect your career, but just quietly. You don't have to make an announcement. Um, just quietly make little changes here or there. And for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I have shared before that I made some changes because I realized it was around November, December of 2023. I realized that I was experiencing the beginnings of burnout, onset of burnout, because I was working so many hours. On top of that, trying to keep up with, my interests, which, side interest, which was my business, my blog, and my YouTube channel. I wasn't doing either one of those justice because so many times I had to forego um, working on my business because I have worked so many hours for my job. So I just decided that, hey, there has got to be a better way for me to be able to do both in a more healthy way. And so I didn't make an announcement or anything. I just started making little changes, simple changes. And even though they were small changes here and there, oh gosh, I cannot share with you, I cannot express to you adequately how even making the initial small changes um, changed the way that I did everything. One thing I did was, for a while, I got someone, I started hiring a cleaning service to come and help clean our home. And even though I only did like once every 2 weeks, that just helped me so much because I am terrible about starting to work on something, maybe writing a blog post or what have you, and then I look around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have clothes that need to be folded, I have this that needs to be cleaned, what have you, and then I'll end up getting distracted. So got some help for a while with cleaning the house. Then when prices, the inflation and prices and what have you, just went totally off the rails. I I cut down on the cleaning service a bit, but I'm about to get it back because it is such a help. The other thing that I did, I started managing my work email differently, and learned some additional functionality within Outlook, and was able to kind of categorize my color code and categorize my email in a way that was more manageable because I was getting so many emails. And I started pretty much requiring everybody who wanted to meet with me, if I'm in the office, I require them to make an appointment unless there is an emergency, because so many people are just totally inconsiderate and they don't mean to be, but they've been allowed to do so often that for so long and for so often that they just don't see anything wrong with, while you have your head down focusing on a project, they don't give one single thought to the fact that they're interrupting you is going to interrupt your train of thought and your momentum on what you're currently working on. And and so I started requiring them to make an appointment. I also don't try to meet with everybody in the same day, because um, everybody's matter that they want to meet with you about is not today worthy. It's just that they would like for you to stop what you're doing and do it today. But if it's not today worthy, I ask them to look on my calendar. I try to be very diligent about keeping my calendar fully up to date, and I ask them to go into Outlook and schedule something, or I'll give if they send an email and say, "Hey, can we meet?" Then I'll give them some days and times that I'm available, and let them select the day or time that works best for them. And then that way, the one that they select, I know that it works for both of us. And I ask them to send a meeting invite for one of those days and times. Um, Other thing is that some people, they like to just slap meetings on your calendar, and then you have no idea what that meeting is is about. So sometimes, many times, the reason why you have an unsuccessful or unproductive meeting is because someone slapped something on your calendar, and they is a very vague topic or title that they give the meeting, but then you have no opportunity to know what it's truly about, and then you're not prepared when you go into the meeting, which what then requires that you have another meeting. I've stopped people from doing that. That is very inconsiderate and very unprofessional, and people only do that because they have been allowed to do that. So I stopped letting other people manipulate my calendar. um, One of my former superiors, vice chancellors, one thing that I loved about her is that one day she took the time to say, "Listen, when I ask you for something, does not mean that you always have to be the person to do it. That's why you have a team reporting to you," because she knew I had trouble with delegation, because I always thought about not overwhelming my employees who report to me. And then she said, also, everything that I ask you for is not due right away. I will make it very clear if something that I ask you for, if I need it immediately. Oh gosh, I couldn't appreciate that more. That was just a sign to me of the professional that she is, and that she actually cared about her team as well. And so, if you don't have someone who you report to who is like that, um, I want you to think about managing up. And I'm going to see, I've never done it before, but I'm going to see. I have a PDF copy of a book called Managing Up. And I am going to see if I can share that with you all, because it will give you a lot. It will give you a lot of tips and advice on how to manage your superior. And I have one employee, Tracy, shout out to Tracy, who manages me well. She is awesome. She stays on top of things. And when it takes me longer than she needs me to review things that she needs my approval or my review on, she will send me a list of pending items, and she will say, would it be okay for me to look on your calendar and schedule some time for us together?" I love it, because she's keeping me on track while she's keeping herself on track, and she's managing up, which is absolutely awesome, and nothing is wrong with that. And so we got a whole lot done in a short period of time. Um, the other thing I was going to say is you have to start prioritizing and also asking questions. If people keep bringing things to you, but they're just saying they need this, but they're not telling you what the urgency level of urgency is, then ask them, when do you need this? Or I stopped asking that a lot of times too. What I started asking instead is it okay if I get this back to you um, by Tuesday? So, because if you ask them when do they need it, 9 times out of 10, they're going to try and rush you. And so, what you do is you ask the question in a way that you're managing the timeline more than they are. So, just want to start off today's discussion by sharing those those tips and that I have used to balance myself out. And also another thing that I've encouraged my team to do is have do not disturb hours so that people know, okay, they're working on a project or some type of very important assignment. And during your do not disturb hours, do not answer those calls that come through. Do not respond to those emails when they come, because then you're actually um, you're negating your need for the do not disturb time if you're answering all of the calls that come through, and you're also responding to emails. You're supposed to have focus. Do have yourself an agenda and focus on the items that you need to be focused on for during that time that you need a lot of intense focus time on. So hopefully those tips are helpful to you. Let's get to the article. I just got all sidetracked, but I know that this information is um, is very helpful. And just make time to get up and walk around, stretch your legs, get more movement, especially if you're a in a sedentary profession or position like I am, an office job. Make it a point every hour, even if you have to set reminders in Outlook or on your smartwatch or your phone, your mobile phone or device, to remind you to get up and go walking. You'll get so many steps in. Let's see, if you're working 8 hours a day, and you get 250 steps every 8 hours. That'll be an additional 2,000 steps that you'll get in during that day. And that may not seem like a whole lot, but it can be significant, especially if you already get 8,000 steps on average. Then, and if you can get more than 250 each each hour. If you're working 8 hours a day, then try and get 500 steps in every every hour. Stop working, get up, walk around, try and get 500 steps in. It shouldn't take you very long, and that's 4,000 additional steps that you'll get in physical activity. So, all righty. So the title of this article, as I said, from SHRM magazine, quarterly magazine, is "Transforming Career Setbacks into Career Success." And the reason why this article touched me is because, having been through job loss twice before, I know that it can interfere with um, your mental health. And because we start self doubting, wondering if we have what it takes to be successful in our career field, or start wondering if other employers will find value, in us. And just thinking, just letting this loss impact the way that we think about ourselves. Let me encourage you to please not associate your self-worth with whether or not you still have a job. And no matter how you lost the job, whether it was through a firing, a layoff, even people who retire, sometimes they start to feel some sort of way because they've done this job, they've worked for so many years, and then now all of a sudden they're like, dang, I'm not doing anything valuable to contribute to, society. And that's not true. um, and so this article is all about helping to reframe your mind, your way of thinking about your self worth and its association to whether you have a job or not, or the type of job that you have. And it so capably reminds us that every success story includes at least a few failures. And I think about Steve Jobs being fired by the board of directors from his own company, Thomas Edison, and the number of times he tried to create electricity, and he was not successful many times. But guess what? When he did become successful, oh, it was on and popping. Um, pardon the pun. Um, Michael Jordan. I mean, who would have thought that Michael Jordan didn't make his his high school varsity basketball team? I know I never would have thought that. Now, not looking at considering the monster that he you know had been on the court during his career, because basketball wouldn't have been the same if Michael had never played. The man was a beast. Then I didn't even know this, that Jerry Seinfeld, before he had his own show, was on another sitcom's table read, and then he was written out of the show after only a few episodes. But guess what? Jerry Seinfeld went on to have an amazing career. And so just know that success typically comes with some setbacks. And, but that doesn't mean that you're not successful. It doesn't mean that you're not successful. It means that what you've done is you tried. You, had my allergies acting up. That you had the guts and the courage to try, and that's what success requires, for us to have the guts and the courage to try. So as long as you're willing to try, um, you're going to soon see success with enough determination and curiosity and consistency. Yeah, you're going to see success. Um, but don't let a career setback equal failure for you. Then the article goes on to say that in reality, the more you try new things, the more setbacks you'll have. And that comes from Don Graham, Dr. Don Graham, who is a work and career psychologist, and also the author of the book Switchers: How Smart Professionals Change Careers and Seize Success. And it's on Amazon. I could think it's on Amazon.com. So what she goes on to say is that if you're not experiencing at least some misses, chances are you're playing it too safe, which we have a tendency to do as well. And because we're playing it too safe, we are missing out on some great opportunities. And I totally agree. I don't know about you, and let me know in the comments if you agree with this. And Dr. Graham says the key to writing your proverbial career ladder and writing Rightting, meaning once you fall, the way to get back on the in the saddle is to develop and employ a growth mindset. And this is what I tell people who I coach all the time. Half the battle starts up here, probably more than half the battle, but it starts up here. Um, you have to know that you're going to win. And the only way that you're going to know that is by having a growth or success mindset. And I'm telling you, it'll boost your confidence every time. Um, learn from. This is quoting Dr. Graham again. She says, learn from and overcome unexpected career challenges, then take actionable steps to allow the setback to lay the groundwork for future success. And let me tell you, when I went through my job loss, for one, I was sick. This was not when I was laid off, but I lost my job. Lost another job because I was sick. I had gone into thyroid crisis, and this medical condition I inherited from my dear aunt. My sister and I both inherited it from our dear aunt, who has two daughters of her own. She and our mom, she's 2 years older than our mom. They're sisters, and they both have two girls and a boy. Well, my aunt Nell's thyroid condition, which hers was diagnosed when she had her son, not long after she had her son, who was her youngest child. Um, Neither one of her daughters got the condition. My sister and I got the gift. So it took the condition took a little um, detour and from her children and landed right on me and my sister Connie. So I developed Graves' disease. And for those of you, anyone who has experienced that or any symptoms of thyroid crisis, you know, I was very sick, very sick. Low energy, um, brain fog, and joint pain, just things, challenges. And so when I lost my job, what I did was I prayed and I told God, yes, it was hurtful, but I told God, I said, you know what, God, I just need about a month and a half to get me back because that job had worked me into the ground. So I've had a couple of situations where I was just working, not living a healthy lifestyle, eating a lot of fast food, not a balanced diet, um, just running, constantly on go. And I paid the price for it because my body was like, listen, okay, you don't want to take the time to slow down and make sure that I'm okay. I'm going to shut down, and you see what you're going to do when I shut down. So that's what happens. God is so good. I stopped working that job, I think around April, mid-April, maybe April 12th, or something like that. By late May, I had another job offer because I applied. I immediately, well, I won't say immediately, I think I took about a week just to rest and take care of myself and get back into the right frame of mind. And then I started sending my resume out, submitting to job openings. And thank goodness an organization reached out to me. My interview went so well that I ended up with a new job, I think by June 1st. So, guess what? I got my six, maybe even 6.5, 7 weeks. I think it was right at 6 weeks. That was, I tell you, that was just God's perfect timing. I asked for 6 weeks to get myself back, and I did. Um, we I was able to qualify for unemployment benefits. And so I just took care of myself, spent quality time with my baby. Well, he wasn't necessarily a baby then, he was a little older than a toddler, about 4 years old, and going on 4 years old. And then I got this job, and I loved it. And I did really great work and impressed a lot of people with my employee relations skills. And then got hired by another organization doing the same type of work. And let me tell you, it's just been absolutely, absolutely wonderful. So after you take a little bit of time for yourself, start to think about, what can I learn from this? What can I draw from this experience? And how can I set a game plan to help me achieve my success? And one of the ways is to interact with others. Don't just deal with it by yourself. And I would say interact with people who don't know you well, so that you don't feel probably like you're being judged as much, because sometimes people who are close to us, like family and close friends, for one, they're always full of advice, and I know that they mean well, but not trying to be mean. But sometimes when you're going through a stressful situation like a job loss, you don't want their advice, and they don't understand that you don't want their advice. And some of them, you can tell them, like my mom, I can tell her that I'm not open to her advice at the time. She's still going to give it to me. So what do? I only tell her what I intend for her to know, and what I'm ready to hear her recommendations on. Because sometimes you just have to block out the noise, even the well meaning noise. You have to block out the noise so that you can make a plan that fits your circumstances, and that you can deal with mentally and emotionally. Because I'm telling you, sometimes that advice from your close family and close friends sometimes is so intense. And my mother tends to get very, very passionate when she's giving you advice. And I think she may not realize it, but I think she gets a little offended when you don't accept her advice. And I don't mean any harm. It's just that I know what she forgets is that she and our dad always, they raised us to be very independent thinking. And well, my dad was, because he's passed away now. And my mom continues to be, at the age of 83, very feisty, very independent thinking, very independent, very opinionated. And she's not going to let you just run her life. And I think that she forgets sometimes that they raised us to be independent thinking and to follow our own path. And but sometimes she'll get kind of offended. Her feelings will get a little hurt if you don't take her advice. So what I do to keep from having additional emotional distress, some things I just don't tell her until either after the fact or never. And just to keep my sanity, and not feel guilty because I haven't taken her advice. Um, Look at this opportunity as being an opportunity to grow. And when you develop that growth mindset, which was popularized by Carol Dweck, make sure that your personal philosophy is it's a possibility. philosophy. And I think it was someone else who I follow on YouTube, Smart Money Bro. I love his content. He was just talking about, going from setback to success in one of his videos this week. And it was just, and having developing a growth mindset and being optimistic. That was the word that he used. And he hit um, so many great points. And even though he talks about financial health and wellness, financial health and wellness, you have whatever you are pursuing, you have to have an it's possible or an optimistic outlook in order to ever, if you're ever going to achieve success. Otherwise, I like what Myron Golden says, another one of my people on YouTube that I subscribe to and watch on a very regular basis. Um, I think Myron says that when you don't believe that something is possible or that it is right, you are never going to work towards it, because mentally and emotionally, psychologically, you don't feel that it's right or possible. So, how can you? I mean, that's how we're programmed. We're only going to work towards achieving what we believe in. So, adopt that optimistic um, mindset and know that by doing so, you're going to improve both your skills and your emotional intelligence with your effort, your time, and your perseverance. So, what Myron Golden has said so many times in so many of his videos is, this undergirds that, this supports, corroborates that when we adopt that it's possible, optimistic attitude towards something, we're going to put effort, time, and perseverance towards it because we feel good about it and we know achieving it is going to be a positive, yet another positive in our lives. It contrasts with the fixed mindset, which a lot of us have to break out of, which sees success as a product of unchangeable innate abilities and circumstances. But nothing lasts forever except for eternity in heaven itself, which God made. And we hadn't gotten there yet. So think about these characteristics of people who apply a growth mindset to their personal and professional life. And the article says that they include finding value in negative feedback. And that means that if somebody tells you you need to improve in something, step back and think about it and figure out ways that you can improve on it. Don't resist it and continue to stay stuck in your rut or your um, fixed or closed mindset. You'll be doing yourself a favor to um, make the necessary changes and probably speed up your um, realization and achievement of success. Have a willingness to learn from mistakes. We're all human. We're going to make mistakes. Learn from them and say, hey, how am I going to try and make sure that this doesn't happen again? I would also say write it down. Make a Make a plan or a process. Write it down. Ask questions. Seek clarification and define expectations. Just like I was saying earlier, when people come and just plop stuff on your court, plop a ball on your court, and you're supposed to take care of it, and they just plop it there, and they don't give you a whole lot of context around it, around when it's due, what the specifics entail, what the expectations are, then it's upon you in your effort to protect your mental and emotional and physical health to ask questions for clarification and expectations, as well as seeking clarification and learning what the expectations are. Admit when you don't know something. Oh my God, there are so many people walking around out here in this world who think that it's a negative to say that you don't know. I actually was told just a couple of weeks ago um, by my manager, who didn't mean any harm, but we were talking, and I was telling her that I did not know something, and the reason being is because, as the associate director, there are some things that my team does that I know that they perform the duty. However, I don't know exactly how they do it because I'm not, I'm not working on it at that level. I'm like a level closer to the executives where I have to um, review, approve, develop, or what have you. But I'm not the person who is in the system, in the HRIS system every day, performing employee transactions or what have you. So I was telling her, I said, well, I don't know that process as well. And she immediately responded and said, don't say you don't know. And I explained to her that, listen, I'm not saying I don't know my job. That is not a part of my job. That's the team member's job, the HR generalist. And so, no, I don't know that process very, um, not intimately, because I'm not the one who performs those duties on a daily basis. And so she understood once I explained to her why I was saying that. So stop having a negative stigma associated with saying you don't know what you, um, if you are honest, because this is what I've seen a person who I currently work with do. Because they don't know, well, I won't say because they don't know. Instead of saying that they don't know, they make up stuff. And guess what making up stuff is? It's the same as a lie, because you're taking a chance on the fact that what you're guesstimating is going to be the correct answer. But instead, what you're doing is you're creating more confusion and chaos. But when you tell the person, um, I don't know, but I'll look into it for you. I'll talk to the team and get those answers, or I'll let me have you speak to this person on my team about that. They'll be able to explain it better or more clearly than I can. Then you're being more of a resource. But when you start just making up stuff because you don't know, but you're embarrassed to say you don't know, then you're going to cause a whole lot more chaos, and you're going to damage your integrity. And that's what this person has done. They have damaged their integrity with a lot of people, because now people are not um, they're not valuing, or they're not trusting, if you will, putting a whole lot of stock in this person's answers to questions. So uh, seek out challenging tasks in an effort to grow. We must be challenged. Don't always go for the easy stuff. Challenge yourself and know that progress is progress. Yeah, you may not, your first time around, achieve the level of success or accomplishment that you had hoped for, but guess what? If you think back, you will have grown so much by taking on that challenge and facing it head on, that it is going to have a profound positive impact on your intellectual growth and your capabilities. So, here in the article, it says that professional success is not just about inherent talent or having lucky circumstances. It's about willingness to learn, the courage to fail, resilience to adapt, and the discipline to grow. And that comes from a senior certified HR professional through Society for Human Resource Management, who is also an expert in organizational psychology and is the director of operations for Society for Human Resources Management's inclusion and diversity team. And so, what Ashley Miller, that's her name, says is research and real life stories have shown us that these characteristics can make all the difference. So, remember, it's the willingness to learn, the discipline to grow, the courage to fail, the resilience to adapt. Those are the characteristics that you need to achieve success. Um, when you apply your growth mindset, career challenges, you'll see career challenges as stumbling blocks, not roadblocks. And because when you see something as a roadblock, you see it as too difficult to overcome. And most things are just um, stumbling blocks, temporary setbacks that you can regroup, reset, and overcome pretty quickly in most cases. They're a chance to take a step back and evaluate what led to the precipitating event. I apologize. Another story about me was when I was studying for my certification, HR certification. The first time I took my certification exam, I knew I had not studied quite enough. And what the SHRM study process, the official um, study program, tells us as HR professionals is to not rely on our on the job HR experience, because a lot of organizations have little things about HR that they have their HR professionals doing wrong. And but I ran out of time to study like I wanted to, and I just thought, okay, I've studied enough. This last little bit, oh man, I'm sorry, my nose is just itching so much. I said, okay, now since I've studied so much, even though I can't finish studying the remaining information with the intensity that I started out studying the study materials, I'll just be able to, use my experience to to pass the exam. Guess what I did? Took the exam and missed passing it by 37 points, which was such an achievement. But my ego, I let my ego get the best of me. And because I was so close to passing, I said, I'm going to take it again immediately within the next testing window. So I went and paid that money, which it wasn't cheap. I think like either $400 or $500. I went and took the test immediately again. No, let me change that. The first time I took the test, the certification exam, I missed passing by 11 points. That's why my little ego got the best of me, because I was so close to passing. So with ego getting the best of me, I'm like, I passed it. I mean, I missed passing by only 11 points. I went back and took the test again during the next testing window, I believe it was, paid that money again, and retook that test. And guess what? I failed it by 37 points. I didn't help myself. What I should have done is just what this article said: take that stumbling block, and use it as a chance to take a step back and evaluate what led to the precipitating event. So then, yeah, the light bulb came on and common sense took over. And I did not run and retake that test again, because what I needed to do is I needed to step back and evaluate my study process, my study strategy, um, and just see where I could improve. So, long story short, I did that, stepped back, evaluated, and then I ended up passing the exam the next time. So, happy to say, I became a senior certified HR professional, which I know I had the capability all along, um, but I didn't handle it correctly the first two times. Um, Perhaps your experience and skills, think about that. Perhaps your experience and skills didn't match the needs for the job, not meaning that you're not highly skilled, but every job has a certain skill set that's needed by the person that fills the job to be successful, excuse me, perform successfully in it. So understand and ask yourself, how can I actively work on developing those skills? Then you may have lost your job because a bad performance review was the result of your resistance to change or a lack of desire to learn new skills. And we cannot get stuck in our ways and think, okay, I've done all I'm going to do. I'm not going to learn anything else. If that's the mindset that you have, it may be time for you to go ahead and get out of the workforce, because things are changing every day. And I see so many people who wouldn't touch chat GPT or artificial intelligence with a 10-foot pole, as my mom says. But the reality is it is here, and it is here to stay, and will probably outlast a lot of us, and continue to grow and expand during our lifetimes. So embrace opportunities to learn new skills. You don't have to become an expert in it, but challenge your brain. Let that be an opportunity to challenge your brain. Then think about the fact that maybe you lost your job because burnout often comes with a lack of professional boundaries. And that's just what we were talking about earlier. You can lose your job because you did not establish professional boundaries. I was guilty of that. I explained to you earlier um, during this segment that I didn't have a lot of boundaries in my professional arena, and it impacted my entire life. So this article says burnout often comes with a lack of professional boundaries. Think about how you can work with your manager to ensure it doesn't happen again. You don't need to be facing burnout over and over again. I faced it at least twice in my career. May have faced it more and just didn't realize at the time what it was. But protect your sanity, protect your peace, protect your health, your overall health, and your, mental stability and emotional stability. Then the last one says leaving the company via a layoff wasn't your choice or necessarily your fault. And I had to remember that in 2008 when I got laid off from my very good paying job. And it was devastating. On top of that, it was hard to find another job during that time, the hardest I have ever experienced. That was the only time in my career that I had a very hard time finding another job. It took me almost 9 months to find another job. But ask yourself, how can I make myself more marketable and network to find a new position? And a lot of us resist networking, but networking is very important. I have a recent video where I talk about um, using LinkedIn strategy um, to help with networking. Networking is a big part of that, and online groups and professional forums, and how quickly you can establish your credibility by answering questions within those groups and forums, and so that other people who are members of the group as well, who may be in higher level positions or may not even be in higher level positions, but become aware of opportunities that might be of interest to you and a good fit for your qualifications that you might not have even found out about if you weren't in that network, if you will, that group, online group, or forum or association. So find creative ways to network and to help yourself get out there. As a matter of fact, on Quora.com, Quora.com, which is an online forum where you can find groups for and spaces, they call them, for almost any industry or topic. I started answering questions on Quora.com, people's job search and HR related questions. And that earned me my own space that I was able to name. I call it Career Matters by Cynthia. And so you please feel free to check it out. Again, it's Quora.com, Quora.com. And my space is called is named Career Matters by Cynthia. So I'd love to have you stop by. So just think out of the box about how to translate your growth into action. Um, and the way that you translate your growth into action is laying out the groundwork. Like I said, write it down, create a strategy that you'll be implementing. For instance, I'm about to start a new group of my own where I'm going to help um, younger or newer HR professionals who want to advance their HR knowledge and skills and abilities. I'm about to start a group where it's a private group where or a membership where they'll be able to interact with me. I'll be able to expose them to information that you can only get from another HR professional if you're not currently working in the field or if you're in entry level and you're ready to advance to the next level. Um, so I'm in the process of writing that strategy out and how I'm going to manage it and everything. And guess what? I expect to be very, very successful with it and to help others, first and foremost, to become very successful in their HR career aspirations. And so, if you want to translate your growth into action, number one, allow yourself to process. And that's what writing your strategy down is going to do. You think through it like I've been thinking through this for probably a couple of months now. And it is now I am mentally prepared to write that strategy down and start taking steps towards making it a reality. Number two, examine what led to your setback. And in my situation, I'm not currently necessarily dealing with a setback. It's just that I I know that in my current organization, there is nowhere else for me to experience upward mobility. You ever heard of being landlocked? Well, I'm position locked, where the positions above me at a higher level than mine are they're filled, and on top of that, not only are they filled, going from nose itching to ear itching. Sorry, um, but nine times out of ten, the people in those positions are not going to be leaving anytime soon, and also knowing the what I'm looking for at this point in my career, they're not exactly the positions that I think would be a good fit for me at this point in my career. They would have been earlier, but just looking at them now, I'm like, oh no, let them have that. So, um, just knowing what your idea of success is, and it's funny because number three tells us to reevaluate our definition of success. And when I talk about the positions that are above me, above the level that I currently am in as associate director, for one, I enjoy working with my team. I have an awesome, awesome team of three people who report directly to me. We work really, really well together, and it's just a pleasure to work with them every day. So I enjoy that. My immediate manager's position, which I did apply to, did not get, but it was such a blessing. 2020 hindsight was such a blessing because I see some of the challenges that she is facing right now, and so I'm like, okay, God, thank you for letting me stay for right now in the position that I am currently in because whew, I have to put out fires, but she really has been having to put out fires and really kind of navigate a process where she's having to um, how can I say it, build her own strategy as opposed to having been, provided with a strategy when she, came on board. And I know that, and she's having to deal with a lot of politics, and because I work in state government, a lot of politics and challenges, the challenges that come along with that, and then the constant um, expectation of agility, but we don't quite have the resources, the system capability that we need to be able to respond in the way that we would like to respond if we had, I call it, if we had a real system. Because what we've done, we took what could have been an awesome system, I believe, that which we migrated to starting back in 2018, but we broke the system with so many customizations that the system doesn't already always provide accurate data. So when we run a report, yes, we can run reports, but we cannot turn those reports loose with confidence because we always have to do cleanup. I don't know if there is one report that we generate that we can trust that the data is totally accurate. So some of those frustrations that you know I just I'm fine not dealing with that, so much. I mean, I understand I have to deal with it to a certain extent, but I'm good. Then, so here where it says to, oh, and then the other position that is like one level above that one, um, has to travel a lot, and again, not kind of creating her own strategy, if you will, without having been given a strategy, then or clear strategy. Then the other one is compensation focused. So I'm not interested in being a specialist anymore. I want to continue to be in the generalist realm where I touch a little bit on every functional area of HR. I think that makes me even more valuable, although compensation professionals, they demand very, very healthy salaries. But I know my personality and what I enjoy doing and being a specialist, especially in the compensation or benefit space, is not something that I am going to get as much fulfillment out of as doing what I do now, which is more in the generalist realm of touching on a little bit of everything every day. I just find that so much fun. And plus, employee relations is my passion. So if I'm going to be a specialist, I would be an employee relations focused specialist, which actually truly is what I am, because I help with help the team to address different employee matters. I conduct investigations, workplace investigations, counseling, coaching, employee relations related training, conflict resolution, intervention. So that's my wheelhouse right there. So I know what I enjoy, and that's what I continue to focus on at this point in my career. So, number three says that with your growth mindset and translating your growth into action, number three says reevaluate your definition of success. And that's what I just explained to you. My definition of success is totally different. Um, well, I won't say totally, but very different from what it was even probably a year or two ago. So, because we have standard success metrics such as salary, title, and responsibilities, they're going to vary by industry, geographic location, and other factors. So, they're not always going to be the most valid measures of success. And this comes from Dr. Graham, um, who I quoted earlier. So she suggests considering other ways to define what success looks like for you. Well, success looks like for me having more balance, being able to spend more quality time um, with my husband, with our child, being home, at night for dinner, being able to make some plans on a day during the week and not feel like that I'm going to get stuck at work until 9 o'clock working on stuff because this last minute request came in with no regard for what my plans may be in the evening after work. So my idea of success is different now. And Dr. Graham here, one of the things that she encourages is work-life integration, short-term goal achievements, or personal fulfillment from the work that I do. And my idea of success now also includes more of like my time with concentrating on my YouTube channel, because I'm able to apply my wealth of human resources experience to help you live your very best career life. And that is my greatest fulfillment these days, to be honest with you, because I'm able to utilize this platform to use my HR talents and capabilities in the way that I see fit, as opposed to having to always ask for permission or approval to do things, because this is my baby. Um, it's my platform, if you will, not the platform itself, but my vehicle via this platform to continue to grow my influence in the human resources space. And it's so much less stressful. Yes, I get tired sometimes because I worked a long day on the 9 to 5, and then I come home and thinking about um, my when I'm going to do my next video, or planning out a series of my videos. But let me tell you, I am getting so much fulfillment from it that I wouldn't trade it. I would not trade it. And this is what I plan to take into retirement with me, is my business, my YouTube channel, my blog, and my participation in the forums and my coaching program my courses to help people live their best career life, like you. Dr. Let's see, Dr. Nabil El Gururi, I hope that I pronounced the name, Nabil El Gururi, is a psychologist and global partner on mental health and workplace culture. And Dr. El Gururi says we need to reframe failures as a part of the process for learning, and that would be very helpful. I totally agree. Uh, I don't know if Dr. Gururi is male or female, but Dr. Gururi says that Thomas Edison had hundreds, if not thousands, of setbacks while inventing the light bulb. And I think I said electricity earlier, but inventing the light bulb, I stand corrected. And each attempt was helpful in figuring out what was and was not needed for the invention. So each setback was a learning experience. So reframe your idea of success to think about progress rather than perfection. Remember, I said earlier that progress is progress. No matter how small, or even if there's a setback, there's something that you can learn from it. Step 4 tells us to seek out professional development. And it doesn't have to be big time. Like I have one team member, she is our HR specialist on my team. She has a master's in, I think, organizational psychology, maybe, or organizational development, but or industrial psychology. Anyway, she has a master's. She's still very young in her career, and she just finished taking a data analytics course because that's one of her superpowers that she enjoys doing is manipulating data. And so she took advantage of our tuition assistance program to take a data analytics course, and she recently finished, and she just had the opportunity to apply some of that knowledge to something that we're currently working on. And she seemed to be really, really happy about it, because that new knowledge is paying off. Um, so attend webinars. I attend at least 2 webinars every week. I believe it is, if not two, at least one every week. And when it's, I mean, I can't buy that additional knowledge. Is just I can't put a price on it. It's invaluable. So know that continuous learning is no longer optional in a world where roles are constantly morphing and in some cases becoming obsolete. So you got to stay ahead of the game if you can. Look into how AI can help you to manage processes better and help you to be more efficient. And think about the fact that while you can spend money on getting a degree or certification, attending conferences or hiring a career coach, a professional development doesn't have to be expensive. And almost every professional association in every industry is going to have give their members access to free resources or resources that come as a part of their as a part of your membership with the association. And you're probably going to have webinars and boot camps that you can participate in. Take advantage of those. I know my husband does every year as an IT professional, take advantage of professional development opportunities in his area. Um, and they don't have to cost anything. You can get a lot of valuable knowledge from free and low cost um, learning opportunities. So don't think that you always have to spend money. Then, step 5, and this is the final one to translate your growth into action. Get back on the horse. Like I said earlier, get back on the saddle and move forward. Don't let what should just be a stumbling block become a roadblock to your success. A stumbling block is only going to trip you up possibly for a short period of time. Sometimes it doesn't even trip you up. Sometimes it makes you pause just for a moment. But at some point, whether it's weeks, like I told you, I asked God for 6 weeks to get myself back to work on myself. During that time that I developed Graves' disease and ended up losing my job, um, I had a pity party for 2 days. That was it. And then I started working on my next move because I knew I did not want to remain stagnant. So, feel whether it's weeks, months, or a year, you should feel ready to try again. And if you don't feel ready to try again during a short period of time, after a short period of time of evaluation and reflection, then consider getting help, getting some counseling or mental health help to help you deal with those emotions that are holding you back so that you won't stay stuck in a rut. And this time, your lived experience and growth mindset will allow you to approach your work and goals. Excuse my husband in the background. I'm recording, and he's talking to himself over there. So it's Friday morning, y'all. We're both in the house, working remotely today. So know that once you overcome that temporary setback, that's temporary stumbling block, that you should let your lived experience and growth mindset allow you to approach your work and goals in a way that lays the path for career success. Because again, you will have matured more, grown more, and in the way that you look at things, and you will be able to achieve success more quickly because you have a different outlook on what success means and how to achieve it, and you'll approach things in a these challenges in a different way going forward. So this was a very long live this morning, but I think it was well worth the time. I hope that I've dropped some gems that will help you to be able to move forward if you're a federal employee who is now out of a job or soon will be out of a job, or if you're not a federal employee but you've lost your job recently and you're in that grieving process, that loss process. Don't let it hold you up too long. Make sure that you have your, couple of days of grieving, but don't get stuck in a rut. And the way that you avoid that is by putting one foot in front of the other and taking small, actionable steps that you feel comfortable with that can help move you closer and closer incrementally, one step at the time, to getting back into a routine that is comfortable and healthy and enjoyable for you, and that will facilitate your success that you're looking for. So I hope you've gotten vast value from this content. Remember, I'm on this continuous mission to help you live your very best career life. Do me a favor and smash the like button. Let the algorithms know that this is great content that others need to know about, and help me to reach more people. Share it with your network. Also, when you're comfortable, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button so you'll be amongst the first to know when I drop new content. Don't forget to join me for another Friday morning live each Friday morning around 7 o'clock for a topic of discussion around the HR job search space. Also, I have a new cohort of my Career Search RX coaching program coming up on March 7th. So I would love for you to join me. I'll put that information in the description below. And I'm going to have some free job search training coming up, free job search webinar, job search success webinar coming up, where we'll talk about successful job searches and also incorporating aspects of AI in your job search to help you navigate the job search landscape successfully. And I would love for you to join me. I'll drop that information in the description as well. I hope that you are having an amazing week. Happy Friday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.